Hello, Teach Better family. My name is Katie Miglin, and I am here to talk shop with Dawn Harris, who is going to be one of our amazing speakers at the Teach Better conference this October in just a couple months. So we today are going to cover all the things about Dawn so that you know who she is, but also what excitement she's going to bring to the Teach Better conference. While we watch this next commercial, if you want to head over to teachbetterconference.com, you can find all the information on not only how to register, where to stay, what to do, and you get to see some information on all the sessions. So we are going to be right back in just about 50 seconds. Okay, I totally lied. That was not 50 seconds. That was like 20. Sorry. All right. Well, welcome. Like I said, my name is Katie Miglin, and I have the pleasure of starting our Monday with the beautiful Dawn Harris. Dawn, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you at? What do you do? All those good things.
Thanks, Katie. I'm so excited to join you today. And I totally get that 50-minute thing. Like, you know what? We were just talking before this, right? That's how we roll as teachers. It's just when stuff happens, we have the great fortune of being in a career that has just trained us to immediately just roll with the punches, right? Whatever happens. And we are equipped to be able to deal with that. So that's pretty exciting, right? To be in a career that allows us to just kind of flip things up on a dime. But again, thank you for having me, Dawn Harris. I am an educator and author from Southwest Ohio. I teach in the Franklin City School District, which is just about midway between Dayton and Cincinnati. We're a suburban district, but we've got a little bit of a mix in there, rural, and we have some, we're an open enrollment district. So we have students who don't live within our community who are attending school there. And, you know, it's an exciting adventure. I love being in the classroom. I'm starting my 10th year this year. I know, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
So I see Dave's comment there. I can't wait to meet you too, Dave. I'm super excited to see everyone. And it's been really fun because Chad has been working with our district over the past year, working with our educators to bring the grid method to our educators. I've been using grids for a long time, so I was super excited that our educators had the chance to experience that. But I was telling Chad when he was there, I was like, Chad, listen, I'm so excited about Teach Better. Like, I'm thrilled about all of the great sessions that are going to be there, but I'm super excited to meet everybody. He was like, I get it. Yes, I know. So the social aspect and seeing everyone in real life is going to be so thrilling. We've missed out over the last couple of years. And so this has just been such a joy to just emerge from, you know, where we've been and join these settings with like-minded educators who are just on fire to share what it is that they bring to our profession. And I'm super excited to learn from them. So
yeah, I could not agree more. I feel like every time we do one of these lives, that's exactly what people are talking about, is just being able to get everyone in the same space to finally have those genuine, authentic conversations. I think that's going to be so fun. You are getting all kinds of love in the comments. So those of you watching, keep dropping some of that love. But Dawn, you shared a little bit about you're in Southwest Ohio. And so can you tell us kind of like what's your day-to-day look like? You know, what do you do in the schools? I know you're right now, we just talked to your school's under construction, so maybe your day-to-day looks a little different right now. But what does it kind of look like for those of you who kind of just want an insight to a day in Dawn Harris?
yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well, I teach let's see, this year I'm teaching film and literature, which is going to be really exciting. Bringing students to this adventure of learning through literature and film. I love movies, so that'll be a joy to share with students. But I also teach gifted and talented students as well. I have taught gifted and talented kids in middle grades as well as high school grades. This year, I'll be working with juniors who will be prepping for the ACT. Whew. So
Oh,
that'll be a lot
pressure
of
is
fun.
on.
I also teach grade 10 English, language arts, and that is fun as well. Just, grade 10 is an exciting grade for students because they've made it through that orientation year into high school. And they're not at the top yet, but they're working their way through and they're gaining their confidence. But it is a transitional year, right? There's some testing and those kinds of things that they have to get through. And so it can be a struggle. So for all of my kiddos, though, it's really important that we're working on every single day in the classroom, building those relationships and strengthening those bonds between students so that they feel confident about learning in the classroom. We do a lot of collaboration, a lot of collaborative work, and I want students to be able to feel connected to one another, right? So that they aren't inhibited in any way in that growth process because they may be collaborating. We know as adults, one of the things when you talk to adults, many adults about collaborating, it's like, can I just do it by myself? Right? I'm better. No, we're actually not. It's a growth process, right? And growing with one another, we know as adults is profoundly and deeply impactful. But it's out of our comfort zone sometimes, right? And so as a teacher, one of my main goals is helping students to get comfortable with that process of collaboration so that they can grow so much more and so much more easily through the connections they make in the classroom. So I'm excited to share that at the conference in October.
Well, you gave a perfect segue into your session. So you talked about collaboration. It's a growth process. I'm like giggling over here because I'm like, yeah, that's so true. I am all about having students collaborate, but I was totally that person that was like, no, just give it to me. I'll let you know when it's done. Like totally me. So can you share a little bit about your session so people kind of have an idea as to what they might get to experience if they attend?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll be hosting the session, Cultivating a Culture of Belonging in the Classroom. And one of the things that I love about focusing on belonging is that it is all encompassing. If we think about belonging and kids coming into the classroom to learn with one another, and we focus on using belonging as kind of like that center point, we can't say no to belonging. It brings students together in unique ways that allows them to just really get to know each other more deeply and building that classroom family. And so we can build belonging into our beginning of the year getting to know you activities. We can bring it into our content area, and how we bring content to students matters in that. Are we allowing students to create connections through the content that we bring? What big questions can we ask? How during collaboration can we go deeper with establishing connections through the context of our content? And so in the course, I'll be sharing strategies for that. It's not just about, hey, kids, learn this skill or learn to do this thing or gain this new knowledge or insight, but what are my peers thinking about that content? How does it affect their lives? How does it affect my life? And where do those things intersect? Right? So that we can find commonality. It's like, this is when we can do that in the classroom and we can forge those kinds of connections and relationships, then we are going to end up with students who will do anything to get to the learning, right? Because they trust us, they trust one another. The classroom is the extension of their family. We think about belonging in that there are a lot of kids who find themselves struggling with belonging at school. But we often don't think about the kids who are struggling with belonging outside of the school building. We have some kids who don't belong at home. They don't feel belonging at home. Then they come to school and they don't feel belonging, right? So if we have kids who are in that situation, if we can at least turn school into that place where they belong, right? Those hours of the day that they spend with us are going to be the hours that they're rushing to get back to the very next day, right? So I really am excited. This has been something in my last 10 years that's like, this is formed over these last 10 years. Like, hey, this is that thing we can't omit from the curriculum. And that's across the curriculum, right? From the second that they walk in the door to the moment that they leave after baseball, football, band, whatever that practice is later in the day. We need to be focusing on that sense of belonging that we're establishing.
And Dawn, I love that you are taking that idea, that family element, but yet you teach secondary. And I think so often people kind of, I know I'm guilty of this. I associate like, oh, that's your family with maybe the younger grades because you're with them all day long. And your stance on it really is all the time, all grades is super powerful because so often I think we think, high school level classes, it's like they're in and then they're out. They come in, they consume some information, they go out. And you're really kind of saying, no, that's not how it should be. We have to establish the sense of family no matter where they're at, no matter what class they're in. And that is so true because the older the kids get, I feel like that is when they need those connections even more. I have a 7-year-old and I see her, she can like literally make friends with anyone at the park. She'll come home and she's like, Mom, I met such and such. I'm like, okay, I don't know who that is. But the older, kids get, they don't do that as easily. They struggle. They need that connection kind of helped form for them. So I love that you really are fostering that so that students feel connected so that they can learn and feel in a safe space. And how great for you, because I know there have been times where you have that moment where you see a kid struggle and they are okay with it because of their sense of community in the class. They're like, okay to admit that they just made a big uber mistake. And it's like, oh my gosh, they all like, they're okay. They're getting along. They're not making fun of them. It's just such a like, oh yes. So I think that is so awesome to like, just kind of speak to that, knowing where you're at and what your background is, because like I said, I feel like so often it's the elementary teachers that we hear from or lean on to see, how to do that. So I think it's going to be a really great session. And I'm wondering how people are going to be in 14 different places at one time, because it seems like every session I have like talked to, it's like, good luck picking, you guys. I'm just going to stand on the sidelines and watch people figure this out, because this is another amazing session. So
gosh, I'm telling you, and looking through the list, you're exactly right. Like when I was going through the conference list, I love how you have it set up that where you can go in and set up your schedule and see where your friends are going. And like it was really hard. And I can't tell you that I haven't already gone back in and switched some things around. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to be that like creeper that goes from like every hour I'm going to go a little bit here and then I'm going to leave and go here and go here. I don't know.
Right.
But it's going to be exciting. But when I think about this idea of belonging, one of the things that really kind of stopped me in my tracks and made me really be more conscientious and aware and intentional with my planning with regard to belonging came a couple of years ago when I had a student who walked into my class. And I think students had even said this before, but sometimes kids say something and it really just hits you. I had a student walk in and they said, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to get to this class. And I was like, why? Like, I literally was shocked because it was just like exasperation. Like, and they said, I can finally breathe when I get here.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So there was a moment of like, oh my gosh, I feel awful that you can't, have those kinds of feelings in other places. But at the same time, I was like, oh my gosh, the sense of relief came for me that a child is in this space and they feel like they can breathe in here. And what was even more important for me as an educator was the realization of this. It was the class, not Mrs. Harris, you're my favorite teacher, or Mrs. Harris. No, it was about the classroom environment and the family that existed in that classroom that the student couldn't wait to get to. It's about what is the environment that we are helping students to build together that they want to get into that space so that they can breathe. And gosh, the effect that had on me, whoa.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to lie, Dawn. I'm going to just say this. You teach literature, which could be a class that some kids are like, heck no, not looking forward to, I can think of a few high school English classes that I drug my feet to get into the door. So the fact that a student not only feels that, but then you also teach a content area that could be kind of a struggle for some students, I think is even more powerful. So that is, it continues to just blow me away with the the feeling that you have in your class. I kind of want to come and sit in your class. Maybe I can crash one of Chad's trainings and
Yes.
visit you. I'm like, I'll just, ditch Chad. It'll be fine.
That would be lovely. I would love it. But, I mean, literature, a lot of people do say, well, literature, and writing, it's different. It's not like math or science or whatever, right? Because you can connect. But it's about finding connections in every classroom. I mean, we need to be in every room letting students tell their stories. What are their math stories and their science stories and all of the experiences that they have that they bring into that content area that they can share with others, because there are students who are sitting in that classroom who are feeling the same thing, the same experiences. They've never had the chance to talk about it before, but by allowing them the opportunities to connect with one another on a personal level through the content means we're allowing students to develop relationships that those two students may have never crossed paths, especially at high school. Our kids are, they're in their lanes and in their groups, and they may never connect outside the classroom, but when they come in there, I've had students who at the beginning of the year were like, just when I say on opposite ends of the spectrum from one another in terms of their values and their beliefs, who came together at a point in the year in a way that other students in the class took notice and were like, whoa, that's super cool. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that we want to see happen, because I know, and this is something I get a lot, but we've got pacing guides and the curriculum map and all of that. And I'll talk about that in the session and how we navigate those things. But I also say this is we can have a pacing guide and a curriculum map, and they won't help us at all if our students don't care about what's going on in the classroom and with one another. Yep. So sometimes we just have to take a minute and set it aside and communicate with whoever we need to communicate with. Hey, I've got to do this in my class so that I can make the pacing guide or the curriculum map work. Right.
Right. Because like you've said, multiple people have said, if a student doesn't feel connected or cared for or respected, that pacing guide doesn't matter at all. Nope. And, I think you said something that I think is important to take away. When you have students from two very different lanes or groups or backgrounds connect, not only is it cool and powerful to see from the teacher's lens, it's like this aha moment, but also it provides students with different perspectives. It's giving them another kind of lens to look through and really kind of analyze, like, well, why does this person think this way? And whether or not they end up agreeing is irrelevant, because the conversation existed and they were able to just get a different idea, which is something that you can't teach. That's, you can give all the information, but until a student really kind of navigates that on their own, it's a little, it's not quite as powerful, which I think is really, really cool. So
yeah, it's true. And those windows, mirrors, and glass sliding doors, right, that Rudine Sims Bishop talks about, that is related to diverse literature, it also exists in diverse conversations. Students need the opportunity to hear those different perspectives, share their own, represent themselves through the conversations, but also hear from others. And we need to help students learn what are those skills that students need, that are going to help them be able to be better communicators, so that as they share their own windows, open those windows for others and look in others' mirrors and walk through those glass sliding doors, they're being attentive, respectful. They have the skills that they need to be effective listeners and communicators, so that they can strengthen those connections. It's as simple as like teaching students, like in class, when somebody else is talking, we're not waving our hand, it's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn, and being respectful. We forget that those little things matter. How to authentically apologize. What is the importance of apology? Even the smallest thing, right? Saying I'm sorry to someone can have a huge effect on us. Oh my gosh, right? They didn't just, ignore me or ignore that thing that happened. Gosh, there's so much to belonging that covers every single inch of our classroom and our content that we can embed if we just stop to think about it and if we're intentional about it. And think what would happen if every classroom in our school had a focus on that kind of belonging in each one. Wow. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Just think of how society would be different.
Oh my gosh, I know. And we do that. We're sending those kids out. That's what's awesome. When we bring that kids to that experience, that feeling of belonging, when we feel love, then we can spread love. And that's what we're striving for in those classrooms.
Yeah. Brad, kind of he's our great at kind of taking some of your ideas. Good morning, Brad. But I think what he says is it's through those setbacks and misunderstandings that really kind of help make those connections stick. We can have them partner up, we can have them, have small groups and conversations, but it's really when you're showing those vulnerable moments, what do you do and who do you turn to, that really kind of makes students feel connected. Because I know I'm guilty of, I'm like, well, they're doing partner group, or they're collaborating on this one thing. Isn't that enough? And I think your point is that it's got to be intentional and diligent, and you got to keep on it through everything you do, so that the actual community is established, which is really kind of where the magic happens. So
yeah, I love that. And I love that, Brad brings up this idea about working through setbacks and misunderstandings, and that, because I think what happens in the high school setting a lot of times is kids, we have up to this point, oftentimes groomed them to be on autopilot, right? Student-led learning is at the core of what we do, and we've helped students through that process. But navigating those difficult situations when they're working with one another and collaborating, if we're not there every second, how do we know that the classroom family isn't disrupted by some kind of setback or misunderstanding that happens in that group, that they know how to address and call each other in and call each other out and apologize and appreciate and respect and value, even in the face of differences and different opinions and those kinds of things. So it's exciting to think about being able to do this in the classroom. And like you said, what we're doing for the community, what we're doing for the world as a whole, when we bring students to understanding that belonging is the most important thing, that our content, yes, it's important that we help kids learn to read and write and add, subtract, divide, social studies, history, all of these things are important. But in the grand scheme of things, if we're not using that content within the connections that we make in the classroom, that's what we're going to do with it when we go out into the big world, right? We're going to work with other people. Let's start right there in that classroom, valuing one another.
Oh, so good. I honestly am like, can everyone just attend your session and then also attend everyone else's session? I think Dave said he's going to be the person that's in and out for 5 minutes so that he can see everyone's. I'm with you, Dave. But Dawn, you have so much good insight to creating a sense of community, having students feel belonging. I am so excited to not only have you share your insight, but also just to get started on another year where you can create the sense of community for another group of students, which you said is very, very soon. It's on the horizon. You start in a few short days.
Yes.
She was sharing with me before, her classroom is slightly under construction. So we are going to be thinking of you, Dawn, as you kind of embark on a different type of year. I feel like different and normal are two words we can no longer associate with school, because every year looks different and there's no more normal. Like every year, and yours is no excuse. So it's been good to talk to you. Now, I heard you had a birthday recently.
I did. Yeah. I'm super excited. It was the big one. Woo! I'm usually half a century old.
Oh my!
Half a century young. Let me say that. Half a century young. I'll say
that. So, okay. So did you have a good birthday?
It was wonderful. I spent it doing exactly what I wanted to do. A whole lot of nothing. It was fantastic. Those days are the best. I was treated to breakfast, lunch, and dinner by my family, my husband and my son, and we just spent a really lovely day together, and it was really great. So
good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, happy belated birthday from all of us. And I'm glad you're able to restore, and I'm glad that you're feeling ready to go as you kind of start this next school year. We look forward to checking in October to kind of see how the year is going and how those the community is being built in your school. But thank you from all of us for what you're doing in your classroom, how it's impacting society, because I think that's so great. And thank you for coming to the conference so that you can share that. If you have not registered for the Teach Better Conference, I don't know how many more of these live sessions we need to do before you decide you should go register, but make sure that you head over to teachbetterconference.com, where you can not only find our schedule, info on all of our speakers, but everything about the schedule. So where we're going to do our networking events, where you can stay, just kind of all the fun is going to be on that website. So make sure you check it out. And then also make sure that you head to make sure you register. Thank you, Brad, for throwing the website in our comments. Dawn, thank you so much for giving up some of your Monday to spend with me to kind of talk shop. And I feel like we've emailed back and forth and kind of connected, but never had a chance to talk. So this has been awesome. So this is it. This is your kind of opportunity, people, to go ahead and register. Dawn, I hope you have a great start to your school year. Enjoy your last few days of summer. Are you actually going to relax these next couple of days, or are you headed back into school?
No, I don't know. I don't see any relaxation coming anytime soon, but it's okay. It's all good, right? The ball's rolling now. We're going, just gearing up for the kids to come back, and just knowing that, I think it's just about the energy that we bring, right? Everything is about the energy we bring into the classroom. And that's what I'm focusing on. I heard someone say the other day that this is a calm but hesitant yet hopeful start to the school year. And I thought, what better way to just sum that up? And I am just embodying and embracing that in everything that I do. So
yes,
thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. I hope everybody has a great week. We will be live multiple times through this week. In fact, today I will be live later this afternoon with Dan Edwards. So if you want to talk more shop about Teach Better 22, come back and join us this afternoon. Dawn, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small